Hello and welcome to another Magic Arena gameplay. Today we're taking a look at the Monoblue Flyers deck, which is a Monoblue aggro deck trying to take advantage of Tempest Djinn, triple blue for an 0/4 flyer that gets +1/+0 for each basic island we control. So of course our mana base is going to be only 22 basic islands to fully enable the Tempest Djinn. Then another very powerful card in the deck is Favorable Winds, a 2-mana enchantment that gives our flying creatures +1/+1, and every one of our creatures in the deck has flying, so that's a very powerful 2-mana anthem effect for our creatures. And then the other big payoff card in the deck I would say is Curious Obsession, which is a 1-mana enchantment, gives the enchanted creature +1/+1, and whenever it deals damage to an opponent we get to draw a card. And we also have a few ways of protecting the enchanted creature so that it can keep attacking and drawing extra cards. So let's take a look at the entire deck list, starting out with 3 copies of Artificer's Assistant, just a 1-mana 1/1 flyer in this deck. The other text on the card doesn't really affect us. Then of course 4 copies of Curious Obsession, 1 copy of Dive Down, which is a nice way of protecting the enchanted creature or just protecting our powerful creatures in general, giving them +0/+3 and hexproof until end of turn. Then we have 4 copies of Siren Stormtamer, very powerful in this deck, 1-mana 1/1 flyer with a very powerful ability that can counter a spell or ability that targets us or a creature we control, so it can even counter a Cellular Wreckage since that targets players. Then we have 2 copies of Unsummon to interact with the opponent's creatures for just 1 mana, returning them to their hand, so a nice tempo play, can even use it to save our own creatures from removal. Not as good as Dive Down in that spot, but it's a bit more versatile. 2 copies of Chart Course just to help us draw some more cards, 2 mana to draw 2 cards, and we have to discard if we didn't attack with the creature. Then our 4 Favorable Winds, 2 Kitesail Corsair just as a 2-mana 2/1 flyer essentially, 4 Stormfleet Aerialist, which is a 2-mana 2/3 flyer if we can enable a raid. Then we have 2 copies of Warkite Marauder, a 2-mana 2/1 flyer with a very powerful effect. When it attacks we can turn one of the opposing creatures into an 0/1 creature with no abilities. So we would like to add 2 more copies of Warkite Marauder in this deck, but we're currently out of rare wildcards. So if we were to add more Warkite Marauders we would probably get rid of these Kitesail Corsairs. Then we have Lookout's Dispersal, a nice counterspell that counters anything unless the opponent pays 4, and we have a lot of pirates in the deck, so usually the Lookout's Dispersal only costs 2 mana, so nice upgraded mana leak. Then of course 4 copies of Tempest Djinn, which is the reason to play the deck in the first place. And then we have 2 copies of Dreamcaller Siren, 4 mana for a 3/3 flyer with flash, so we can play it at instant speed, and when it enters the battlefield if we control a pirate we can tap down 2 of the opponent's creatures, so a nice tempo play that can tap down opposing creatures, which is very powerful in a racing situation. And then just 22 basic islands to power up our Tempest Djinn. Alright, so that's the deck. I can quickly show you the curve layout as well if you're interested, and maybe the stats on the deck. Alright, let's jump into some games. Alright, this sounds okay. Just a nice curve of flying creatures. Even have the assistant to turn on the raid for the Aerialist on 2. Such synergy. Uh-oh, it's a mono red deck. Do they kill the assistant? They don't. They had the option of killing the assistant. Let's see if they're gonna regret it. Or if they just have the lightning strike anyways. But that makes it more likely that the Tempest Djinn survives, so that's fine by me. Always bolt a bird. That's a nice one. Ooh, another Tempest Djinn. So yeah, let's see if our opponent bolts the bird. Alright. They might have wanted to do that in their turn if this was their plan all along. Since a dive down would have been, I guess, not amazing there, but sure, Rampaging Ferocidon is going to help us deal them more damage. since we are definitely winning the race. They should just be dead next turn if they play a creature. And there we go. Yeah, Tempest Djinn, it's a pretty good card. This hand's quite bad. No early flying creatures. Nothing to turn on Shard of Course. Yeah, I think this is a mulligan. Alright. So, hopefully we find a play before we have to play the Tempest Djinn. Turn 1 opt. Alright, nice. So in the completed build of the deck, this would be another Warkite Marauder, just for reference. Turn to Ascanta, so we get resolve Tempest Djinn. That's nice. And then next turn we get to protect it, so if their removal is Seal Away, which is pretty likely in blue-white, then we get Dive Down to protect the Djinn. And then Obsession is going to be pretty great as well. Ooh, they're playing black as well, so that changes things. Alright, so we could Obsession, which would be okay, since then we can also play the Assistant. So I think I like that. Play Obsession on the Corsair just to spread out the wealth a little bit. Although putting it on the Djinn is nice because putting it on the Corsair is still vulnerable to a Golden Demise, but that is double black. Opponent might just be splashing black, as we see Teferi go to the graveyard. So we'll split the difference here, put the Curse Obsession on the Corsair. We've got Dive Down to protect. And then we'll play Assistant. And then next turn favorable wins. They could just counter the Obsession as well, which is fine. I think we still keep up Dive Down over playing favorable wins here, since they could just use a removal spell on their turn and want to be able to protect our Tempest Djinn. Or they could just be blue-black splashing Teferi, that's also possible. But the fact that they're playing 3 colors makes it less likely that they can play a Golden Demise, is my point. Alright, so Settle the Wreckage now would be pretty annoying, since we don't have an actual counterspell. So I think we favorable wins, attack with our 2 smaller ones. And if they counter this, then we know we can attack. Could also unsummon in response to a settle, but I think we'll play it like this. Yep. So I think we have to let this happen. Could unsummon one of our creatures, but now we'll have a giant Djinn. And I think it's worth protecting it, so I've got 2 ways to protect it. One's a bit better than the other against control. So it looks like our opponent is splashing black. Alright, another Settle the Wreckage would be annoying, but I guess we can just unsummon and replay the Djinn, so that's okay. Let's play the land first. And this is a 2-turn clock, so Seal Away, sure. Alright. Let's see if they have another one. Don't think we need to play the land here. There's no gain 1 life card or 2 life. I guess Never mind, Moment of Craving is a reason to play the land here. They would still survive, but at least we deal extra damage. If they have another settle, we can unsummon. If they cast out, we can unsummon. If they seal away, we can unsummon. So, yeah. Let's see how this one goes. Alright. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it doesn't work. Not sure why it lets us go through the library, but since I think it shuffled our deck now, which I don't think you're supposed to. Yeah, I think that's a bug. Alright, we're out of answers. Oof, the fact that they binned Vraska's Contempt, I guess they don't have double black. Which is why they didn't want it. So their opponent's just going full greed mode, sell the wreckage, Vraska's Contempt and cancel all in the same deck. It's some ambitious mana. Ooh, they found the seal away with 2 mana up. Must be nice. Alright, time to find that counterspell. Yeah, just have to say go here. Now we're probably dead. We did have a few outs here. Our 4 copies of Lookout's Dispersal would have won us the game. And I think that's it, since we now only have the 1 dive down. Yeah, if this Unsummon were another dive down, we also would have won. So the small changes we made were to improve our creature matchups, which this is not. Can pay for your Supreme Will, but Acid Scatter will work. Well, at least they're not untapping any lands now. Yep, and this game's over. I think we did mulligan this game. So, still made a game out of it. Yeah, the church sound on the chapel are pretty nice. Opponent with approach. Alright, GG's. Alright, this hand's better. Still needs to draw 1 or 2 lands here. And no Magma Spray. Next turn Tempest Djinn, followed by Winds plus Unsummon, so we have a nice curve here. Kenra into Kenra. Is there a 3rd land? There is. New Llanowar Elves. So we might already be facing Glorybringer next turn, which is pretty scary. So Might want to keep up Unsummon. So this is a rough one. Can't really play the Djinn if they play Glorybringer next turn, since that would kind of be game over. I guess we can play Favorable Winds this turn, keep up Unsummon. That way next turn we get to play Djinn, which survives Glorybringer, so that's a lot safer. I think we do attack with everyone. Could leave back the Aerialist to block the Kenras, but that's not great in the face of a potential removal spell. Alright, no Glorybringer, so maybe just a Phoenix second main, which we can also unsummon. Yep. Tempest Djinn, so could keep up Dispersal, or we can just play the Djinn, attack for 5, and Djinn's gonna be a 4/5, which can attack into the Phoenix. And if we draw another land, we can Siren tap down Phoenix. Seems good. Could just be a Glorybringer instead. Alright, so they have what looks to be a Lightning Strike, but if they Lightning Strike Tempest Djinn, then they can't replay Phoenix this turn. So I think that's a fine exchange. Think I'm fine trading. Since we have the other Djinn in hand. Alright, it's just a Brontodon. Alright, so let's see. We're attacking for 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can Obsession, hits for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Puts them to 1. And then we get to keep up Dispersal, that sounds pretty safe. And I'll put the Obsession on the Djinn, so it still survives Glorybringer. You could also kill the Obsession, but then they're dead on board. And we could die on the way back, I guess. If they Eternalize... No, they have to sacrifice a Brontodon here, so 4, 6, 7. We shouldn't be dead on the way back. Another Favorable Winds. I think we have to keep up Dispersal here. Alright. That one's getting countered. And that should do it. Alright, got our revenge. That was a more interactive game. And there the Unsummon definitely paid off. Nice Stormtamer plus Obsession hand with dive down, so if this Obsession sticks, we have a lot of ways to protect it. And I hear drawing 2 cards a turn is pretty good. I'm just gonna play it safe here. Maybe not. Now that we drew Tempest Djinn, kinda wanna tap out for that next turn. So guess I'll play another Stormtamer. If they kill our Stormtamer, then we get to play Djinn. Still fine. Alright, they're just tapping out for Ascanta, so they don't have the seal away, otherwise they would have done that. So we don't need to play around seal away. Just get to attack. And this should be game. Siren Stormtamer also counters Cellar Wreckage. Guess we want to put it on the same Stormtamer. And here I want to keep up as much protection as we can, so I'm just going to play the Assistant, which keeps up Dive Down and Stormtamer. So yeah, don't think there's a card that can save them here. Alright, sweet. Yeah, Curious Obsession. Pretty good card. Yeah. Alright, this works. Well, they better be playing a Seal away or a Baffling End. They don't. And I think we just jam Tempest Djinn. That way they have two threats to choose from. Either they take away the Assistant with Obsession, and the fact that they discarded Binding probably means they have another one in hand. I guess we could sit on the counterspell. Might be okay, since the next turn we get to Aerialist plus Dispersal. Yeah, that sounds good. So the fact that they discarded one kind of implies they have one in hand. Or they just don't care about the Assistant, but that seems strange. I'll counter this just to use up our mana, since we have another one in hand. Alright, so now we get to attack. Play Aerialist, which is a pirate, so our Dispersal is cheaper. Stormtamer also works, but I think I would rather have the bigger body in play. Kind of want to hang on to this in case I have another Lyra Dawnbringer. But this is also a pretty good one to counter, and then just hope they don't have Lyra. And I guess if they do have Lyra, we do have Tempest Djinn with favorable winds, so that kind of puts up a fight. Alright. We do get a few draws towards Unsummon and Dreamcaller Siren to maybe tap down Lyra Dawnbringer for a turn. Yeah, and there she is. Right on schedule. So I think we chart a course. Well, don't think we'll need the Corsair. And then we get to go Marauder, which can shrink down Lyra next turn. And for now we get to keep up Dispersal, so we should be okay here. Obsession does fall off, but that's okay. Opponent's still dead here. So the Marauder showing its value here, being able to shrink down a Lyra. I remember losing a match where we didn't have the Warkite Marauder and our opponent played a Lyra Dawnbringer. But this time we have at least 2 copies in the deck. And it's kind of a desperation Hypno Rivulet. Can gain 1 life. 10, it's not enough. Still have 14 here. Alright. Sweet. Alright, so that's the Monoblue Flyer deck. Performed pretty well. Lots of close games. Sometimes you do have those hands where you just flood out and don't draw anything powerful, but if your opening hand has Curious Obsession or Favorable Winds or Tempest Djinn, then you're probably doing something powerful. So I like this deck. Probably not going to be the best deck in the format, but certainly a small role player. And there's also different builds you can make with the Monoblue deck. But since we don't have Kaladesh block yet, I think for now this is the only version you can build in Arena. And once Kaladesh is added, you could try a more artifact-based deck with Zahid, which you can play for 4 mana as a 5/6 flyer, so that's not bad. But now that we don't have Kaladesh in Arena, I don't think you can build an artifact-based deck for Monoblue yet. So yeah, that's Monoblue Flyers. Time for another deck. So which deck haven't we played today? I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting the channel, and you can do so yourself as well over at patreon.com/LegenVD, where you get cool rewards for supporting the channel, as well as getting us closer to our goals, where with every goal reached we will release an additional weekly series. So if you want to see more content, Patreon is the place to go.